Thanks, Count Corla. If anyone needed any proof just exactly how out of touch this government is, they got it in spades this evening. You're proud of yourself, Minister. There's been an awful lot of speculation recently about the government's intentions regarding people who are struggling with the cost of living crisis. You've told homeowners that they're on their own if they're struggling to pay their mortgage because you rejected Sinn Féin's motion on mortgage interest relief. You're telling renters that while you recognise that rents are too high, you're refusing to implement our proposal to freeze rents and reduce the cost to renters by using a refundable tax credit, which would put the equivalent of 1 month's rent back into their pockets. And while ordinary people are pushed to breaking point and beyond, you and your government have been busy gas-lighting them, drip-feeding and leaking little bits of information about what you might or might not do to avoid the cliff edge that you have created, while at the same time you're telling them they've never had it so good. Then we have your Environment Minister wagging his finger at people who are forced to live in energy poverty and warning them that they will be weaned off supports they need to keep their homes warm. They're not bold children, Minister. They're families who need to keep their homes warm. They're elderly people who are forced to go to bed in the afternoon to stay warm. The cold spell isn't over, and that's why we're calling for an extension of the fuel allowance and for a discretionary fund for those who don't qualify but will still struggle to keep themselves warm. And Minister, I've been in this chamber many times when my colleague Dr Claire Curran has raised the issue of community welfare officers with you. The system in place isn't working. When they were in the health centres, when they were all in the community, they were easily accessible. Now it's a 16-page form and weeks of waiting. And you have, one of your colleagues specialises in renaming government services that have failed. We saw her do her magic with the Passport Office. I think she really needs to get another campaign going to rename the emergency payment to become a wait until your emergency is a crisis payment, because people are left waiting weeks for it. And finally, I want to mention a young mother in my own constituency. She lives in Swords. I spoke to her last week. She has a daughter who is autistic and needs supports. She has been forced to cancel the therapies that she pays for privately for her child. She said to me, and forgive my language, last Count Corla, she said, "I have been made to feel like a shit mother." She is not a shit mother, Minister. She is doing her damn best, and the only thing she had left to cut were the therapies, and they're gone now, and her child will wait 4 years. Thank you.
I presume the language was in inverted commas.
I apologise, Count Corla, it was a direct quote.
Yeah.